Archmage's charm has been revealed from Modern Horizons. Let's talk about that. Everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master. I'm here in Taiwan. You can see the beautiful scenery out here in Taiwan. We've got rice fields, more rice fields all over the place. We've got a temple. I don't know if you can hear it right now, but the garbage truck is on its way. The garbage truck plays this beautiful music, letting you know you got to take out the garbage. You better run and throw out your trash. But I'll tell you something that's not trash. That is Archmage's charm. Very unique, interesting card that has been revealed from Modern Horizons. How are we going to use this as a Modern Merfolk community? Okay, so the card is blue, instant speed. First, there are 3 modes on it. First one, most important, counter target spell. Hard counter. I mean, it's basically like a cancel, you know? So for 3 mana, we're going to counter a spell. That's the beautiful part. So Primeval Titans and all that other stuff. Ugins, Karns, Snapcaster Mages. No condition on this if we're going to counter a spell. For 3 mana, it's pretty clunky. But the bonus is that it's got 2 more modes on it that are relatively relevant for the Merfolk deck. We'll talk about the last one. This is actually the most important one, and that is gain control of target permanent that's converted mana cost 1 or less. This actually has a lot of application in Modern. We can, for example, steal our opponent's Ether Vial. That would be a huge tempo swing in the humans matchup. Taking one of the biggest problems for Merfolk is playing, one thing a turn. But if we spend 1 turn taking their Ether Vial, now all of a sudden we're going to be playing 2 things a turn. They're only going to be playing 1. And if we're in the Vial Mirror and we take their Ether Vial, I think that is also a huge bonus. Not to mention that you can just take one of their 1-drops. Maybe Noble Hierarch is very important to them. Maybe their Champion of the Parish that has become an 8/8 creature is important to them. Do you ever think about that? We steal their gigantic Champion of the Parish, and at instant speed, we let them do the work for us. By the way, we can do this in the middle of combat. If we do this in combat when they attack and make the Champion of the Parish as big as possible, we then take the creature out of combat and we got a big Champion of the Parish for us. Now, that's not the only deck that has 1-drops. And keep in mind, like most of the decks that run over Merfolk, they've got really good early game speed and creatures that run us over. So we can take away things like Death Shadow. We can take away things like Grim Lavamancer. We can take away things like Swift Spear. Monastery Swift Spear, there is no good answer for that fucking thing. But with Archmage's Charm, we can finally answer Swift Spear. We just take it for ourselves. That helps. I think that helps significantly. And that Swift Spear is seen in not just the Burn deck. Burn deck, we can beat the Burn deck, but the Mono Red Phoenix deck, that deck can be trouble. And not only can we take Monastery Swift Spear, we can also take Soulscar Mage. I hate these prowess creatures for 1 mana. Specifically, the 1/2. The 2 toughness prowess triggers, those are a real pain in the ass because it's just 1 bolt to your face and none of our 2-power creatures kill it anymore, and the blocks are just terrible. I mean, I don't know how many times I have to chump block Swift Spears and Soulscar Mages just to keep my head above water. Now we can just steal the fucking things with the Archmage's Charm. Other 1-mana cards that we could take, I mean, we could take an Amulet. It's not that big of a deal, but I'm really looking to take the 1-mana creatures or the 0-mana creatures. You can steal Hangerbrack Walker. You can steal a Walking Ballista. I mean, of course, they're going to just throw it at your face, but the point is you get it off the board. There's a lot of board states where they reduce the Walking Ballista to just 1 counter with the idea of untapping with all their Amulet mana or all their Tron mana to rebuild the Walking Ballista back up to threatening territory and kill us. Not anymore. We're going to steal the Walking Ballista or force them to use it up immediately. And I think that is incredibly valuable. Not to mention, You know, there are some situations where you might want to steal a Secure Tribe Scout or something to prevent our Amulet opponent from getting even bigger. But the point is, like, if you go down the list of archetypes in Modern, everyone has 1-drops. Almost everyone has 1-drops. Like, we're gonna bring in Archmage's Charm against even Grixis Control because it has the mode of counter target spell attached to it. And then with the upside of stealing a Grim Lavamancer if that thing is going to be such a pain in the ass. So what I really like about this is it will be an answer to the late game spells, but it's also an answer to the early game spells. So that's what I think is so valuable about Archmage's Charm. And you can probably go down the list of archetypes and find more 1 mana permanents or 0 mana permanents that we can steal from our opponents. There's a long list. Like, there is a very serious long list. Now, we go to the last mode, which is draw 2 cards. I don't know how important that's going to be for the Modern Merfolk archetype. Certainly, I mean, it's not too bad. End of turn, draw 2 cards, untap, draw another card. So you've drawn 3 cards. You're definitely going to get at least 1 threat out of all of it. But mostly, I really like the idea of stealing a permanent, which I think, I mean, I don't know if it's a strict upgrade to something like Threads of Disloyalty. So that's like where I'm really comparing this card. Threads of Disloyalty traditionally was the card which we used to steal other creatures, and it saw the most play in the Modern Merfolk archetype when Death Shadow was really strong. And it was just a really good way to steal the Death Shadow or answer the Death Shadow, because, I mean, if your life total is high enough, the Death Shadow is just going to die. But this is instant speed. Threads of Disloyalty is clunky. It's only it's at sorcery speed. We want to be able to play at instant speed, hold up mana, be much more, and like, you can't destroy the Threads of like, if you destroy the Threads of Disloyalty, you get the creature back. But with this charm, with Archmage's Charm, they don't get their permanent back. Once we use it, it's ours. You can hear the bugs are starting to come out here in Taiwan. As the sun goes down, the bugs come out. They make a lot of noise. So I think this is a great card. I really like it. The question is, how much room can we afford to put Archmage's Charm in our deck? And how much is a deck building restriction is it to put a blue card in our deck? So I don't know if I definitely want to be reaching for this card right now. Maybe, like, there are, I mean, I think Humans and Death Shadow are enough of a reason that you might want to look at this card. For sure, we're going to want to have definitely some number of, counter spells for Force of Negation. That is a must. I think we're definitely going to want to play test with 4 of those. And then after that, you know, there's like 4 more counter spells we're going to want to put in our deck. And I guess we can devote maybe 2 to this charm. But it's tough. It's because it might be effectively a 4-mana spell like Cryptic Command, and you got to ask yourself, do you want Cryptic Command or you want this thing? Because Cryptic Command also draws cards. It's also card advantage in 2 ways. I mean, Archmage's Charm can draw 2 cards, but Cryptic Command can counter something and draw a card, which is effectively like 2 cards anyway. So, you know, you got to look at it in that perspective, because if you go blue, there's going to be so many games where you have a Mutavault out and you're just going to wait for a 3rd blue, and then once you have it, then it's 4 mana anyway. But if the stealing creature thing is significant enough, it's powerful enough, it's not even creatures, it's permanent. So, you know, if you're up against Tron, you can take their Expedition map if they can't crack it, and that's a big deal. That can do 2 things. First, we can find a Mutavault off that, which is very valuable. And it prevents them from finding their last Tron mana. So that's a big swing in itself. So there is a lot of flexibility to this card, especially in the future, as Modern is getting more mana efficient and getting more under. I think we're going to want more of this Archmage's Charm. It becomes more playable. So it's a card I definitely want to see in the toolbox. I do think it's an upgrade to Threads of Disloyalty. I mean, Threads of Disloyalty can take like a Tarmogoyf, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not doing anything else than that. It's a very clunky card. For the most part, we want to be stealing 1-mana creatures. I mean, there's probably some circumstances where we want to take 2-mana creatures, but in my opinion, it's an upgrade. It's more flexible than Threads of Disloyalty. The problem is the mana, But that mana could change. We could play with like fairy conclaves, maybe a few more fairy conclaves than mutavaults. Maybe one day we get a really good blue manland that compensates the Merfolk deck. That's worth playing in the Merfolk deck, even if it comes into play tapped. Maybe we'll be even lucky that it comes into play untapped. I don't know. But anyway, it's a very unique, interesting card that does help facilitate what we want to do with Merfolk, countering spells, stealing creatures, getting that tempo back. I like this card. I like it a lot. Is it positioned right now? We're just gonna have to wait and see. It's gonna be like a lot of other cards, you know, like Mistcaller. When Mistcaller was revealed, it was trash. It was absolutely useless. It had no business in Merfolk. It had the potential, and it did see play later on in the summer. So, and I think that's how I'm looking at Archmage's Charm. It's another card in the toolbox. I like what it does, and I can even see it seeing play right now. But we're just gonna have to see how the 75 looks, and if there's no room for it right now, I think there's gonna be room for it in the future. So anyway, those are my opinions on Archmage's Charm. Love the card, very cool, unique ability, instant speed, steal creatures. That's pretty damn good for Modern Merfolk. So anyway, that was my opinions on Archmage's Charm in Modern Merfolk, coming out in Modern Horizons.